I Saw Myself on the Deep Web. Written by Drechenaux. Featuring Creepyface. I am what you call a crypto addict. Before that though, I was someone who enjoyed browsing the deep web. I wasn't really looking for anything in particular. Just curious as to whether or not the stories I had heard were true. I never really found anything that creepy though, but it was my first encounter with Bitcoin. A few sites used it, and it was the first time I had ever heard of cryptocurrency. As such though, I had thought that it was a scam or something shady at that point. This was back in the years 2012 through 2014, so as you can imagine, I'm really kicking myself for thinking that and not buying a few coins. My interest in the deep web waned over time, but around the year 2017, I began reading about cryptocurrency and that old shady thing Bitcoin on mainstream news outlets. That's when I made a deeper dive into the world of crypto. My goal at the beginning was just to earn enough money to pay off my student loans. Of course, nothing was ever that easy. I had made nearly every single mistake you could make while buying crypto. Once, I lost my seed phrase. I sent crypto to the wrong wallet by mistake. I FOMO'd and sold at a loss countless times. Twice I've been fooled by pump and dump schemes. Despite all of this, my net monetary change from buying into crypto has still been positive overall. That's mainly because I wisened up over the years and made back the money I lost and then some. Of course, every time I hear about random coin going up 20 times in price, I do wish I would have seen the opportunity, but I know most of those coins probably don't have much value or long-term prospects. I invest in safe projects, but of course, like almost anyone else, I've been on the lookout for the next big thing. You know, the next big project that's going to the moon, so to speak. I got an email from an old acquaintance of mine. Let's call him Frank. Frank and I went back to the days when we scoured the deep web, and the two of us will often exchange information regarding anything interesting that we found. I hadn't gotten a message from him in 2 years though, so I was kind of surprised.
Hey, I know it's been a while, but I saw this weird thing and I think you want to check it out. I see from your profile that you've been into the crypto space for a while, right? What do you think about this? It's a site claiming to have made a new kind of coin.
There was a link to a website. At first, I was really confused. This website was on the deep web, but according to this mail was regarding a new crypto coin. That made no sense. When you made a new coin, one of the first things you wanted to do was to get as many people in on the project as possible. Making all information about your new coin exclusive to the deep web was a guarantee that it will probably never take off. Then again, maybe they were making some sort of super secure coin which the government couldn't trace, so they kept it on the down low. Regardless, I decided to check out the link. The website was honestly nothing to write home about. It was decently organized but was rather plain, It looked like a web page from 2007. This was definitely the wrong thing to do if you wanted people to be interested in what you were doing or convincing them that you had a great new idea for something. There wasn't even too much information on the site about the coin itself, with most of it linking to a video they had made. There was a forum, but accessible only to members. Guessing there was nowhere else to go, I went ahead and clicked on the video. It showed a dark room with a desk right in the middle. Someone walked in wearing a white mask and a dark hoodie. As he spoke, his voice was clearly distorted, so he was clearly using a filter of some sort.
Greetings. Thank you for your interest in our new project. One by which we hope to revolutionize the very concept of cryptocurrency and blockchain technology. I have long since been a member of the crypto space, but I consider myself to be an environmentalist first. You must have already heard about the environmental impact that mining cryptocurrency has. Many people have spoken about that. As such, we wanted to look for a way to solve this problem. A solution quickly came to me, but it was a bit of an unorthodox one. You see, I am a man of many interests, and the occult was one of them. One thing I had always been told was that spirits, demons, or what have you, they always know everything going on in the world. They don't seem to follow the normal laws of physics either.
It was at this point that I began frowning. What on earth was this? Was this guy really talking about ghosts and spirit in a crypto video?
I thought that it might be possible to use this to our advantage. You see, a spirit can theoretically solve a problem in an instant. Time works different for them. And the best part is the environmental impact is nil.
I was just about ready to turn this off at this point. What kept me going was a mild curiosity regarding where this guy was going. This had to be some sort of scam, right? But what was the scam? Was he going to ask for a donation first, or was he just trying to install malware on my computer? I mean, he must have made this video for a reason, right? I just wanted to know what the scam was, so I could tell Frank what it was.
I searched around in many books on the occult until I came upon them. They do have a name, but not one you can speak freely in this tongue. Suffice it to say that certain supernatural creatures are willing to help us and mine our coin for us. Now, of course, you must be thinking that such a thing isn't worth your soul. Rest assured, though, that these creatures don't want our souls. Simply, our bodies. I told them that in that case, they should buy us all a round of drinks first.
He chuckled at his own joke.
Anyway, the idea is simple. You, as a human, can rent out your body for a small portion of the day. In exchange, these creatures will mine coins for you. That's right. I managed to connect the spirit realm with the internet, so they can mine cryptocurrency for us. Right now, we are starting out with mining Bitcoin by this method to test it out, but we'll release our own project very soon. I can say, though, that I am quite excited by the potential of our upcoming coin, as it will be mined only by these entities. All information would be held not only on the internet, but within the spirit realm as well. So, even if every database on Earth was wiped clean, we could recover the data. For now, though, we are just seeing how easy it is to mine Bitcoin using this method. If you're interested in renting out yourself, you can go ahead and sign the contract given on our site. If you're interested in simply buying some of our own coins when our new project will be released by conventional methods, please stay tuned for further updates. Thank you.
The video ended at that, and I was left confused. Making all this would have taken some cash and some time. So was it all really just a hoax? How were they planning on making money out of this? With no further information available, I checked out their forums, but that was only open to people who had signed their contract for now. I took a look at this contract. It was needlessly long and annoyed me because I knew there was no way that a site like this could ever take anyone to court if the contract was violated. So what was the point? The gist of the whole thing was that you will agree to rent out your body for a time ranging from 1 to 10 hours a day. In exchange, you will get a set amount of Bitcoin per day, with it increasing depending on how long you rent yourself out. Let's say you got X amount for an hour, then you get 20 times X for 10 hours. Clearly, it was designed for people to choose the maximum amount of time possible. Frustrated, I put down my selection as 1 hour and hit accept. A message popped up.
This contract will be valid for 1 year and cannot be cancelled. Are you sure you want to accept?
I scoff at the idea of them trying to enforce this contract and hit the accept button. A congratulatory message popped up as well as an address to a wallet I could unlock. Disappointed, I browsed the site a bit more and saw nothing to explain what it really was. I could only chalk this all up to a very elaborate hoax. The next day, I went about my day as usual when something odd happened as I left my driveway. I found myself in my office an instant later. If I had been paying a bit more attention at the time, I would have noticed that I had lost exactly 1 hour. But I wasn't. I had zoned out while driving to work occasionally, but not when I was entering the building. I chalked it up to me just having a long daydream though. Things didn't worry me, not yet at least. Something similar happened the next day, though I had some trouble noticing this as it happened when I was chilling around at home, and I just thought I lost track of time as the sky suddenly became a lot darker. The third day, though, it happened at work. I was in a meeting, and then it was over, and I was at my desk. On one hand, I was happy to be able to skip that meeting, but also, I knew I was losing my mind. The MRIs all came back, and the doctors thought I had dissociative identity disorder. When a month later I found myself in my house with some jewelry I had no recollection of getting. I learned the next day that one of my neighbors had been mugged, but didn't know who it was. That day, I suddenly found myself in a park with a shard of glass on my shoulder. I learned that someone had smashed another neighbor's car. Fed up with this, I installed cameras around the house to watch me. And that night I saw myself leave the house to come back later with some cash. Cash I must have stolen. Yeah, I learned someone's house had been broken into the day after that. I finally put 2 and 2 together and went back to the website. I hadn't checked my wallet, but it had a substantial amount of Bitcoin now. Clearly, this thing hadn't been a hoax. They wouldn't have been paying me if they weren't getting something out of it. Whatever entity chose to inhabit my body started out by just mimicking what I normally did. But it was clear it was getting more and more daring with the theft and vandalism it was doing. I read up that long contract again, and I saw no termination clause. I can't exactly communicate with this thing that takes control of me. And even if I could, I have a bad feeling that it doesn't want to leave. Forum posts on that site are of no help, as a few people seem to be in the same boat as me, but have no idea what to do. This site doesn't have a customer service section, to no surprise. Based on what I read of the contract, the entity can hurt me or my property, or do a crime that will lead to me being arrested or the such. But it can do crime as long as it makes sure that I'm not caught later on. Anyway, I highly doubt it wants me to be arrested. It will not have as much fun as when I'm free to roam around. In the end though, I realized that I couldn't live like this. There was nothing else to do but wait for my contract to expire. So I've moved to a very remote area where there are few people around. I'm glad for that, so that thing can't harm anyone else. I have even had to give my dog away to my parents for the time being. I don't know if she counts as my property, but I don't want that thing hurting her one day. I read on a forum post on that site of someone who found themselves with blood on their hands after a blackout, and that they were freaking out while wondering whose it was. It's obviously much worse for those who rented out their bodies for several hours. I guess I should be thankful I only agreed to an hour. I've quit my job, and I only go out of town to get supplies when the hour is up. I thought about maybe tying myself up so I can't get out, but I still need to do things like go to the bathroom, and that sounds like a terrible way to live. It's been 3 months total, and there are 9 left. The coins I keep getting are enough to pay for my living expenses, thankfully. I might have had to rent myself out for longer if that wasn't the case. I'm writing this because I was curious if there's a lawyer among you who might be willing to read over the contract I agreed to. If every contract has a loophole, I'd be happy if you could find one on this one. I can go to a regular attorney, of course, given no one will believe me. I mean, where would I even go to dispute this? But if there's someone among you who is experienced with dealing with supernatural contracts, do please contact me. If possible, I will also prefer if you could accept payments in Bitcoin.